Dear fellow truth seekers, thank you and welcome for visiting my channel, MythoReligio. MythoReligio is a series of books about religious comparison studies between the stories in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism and Buddhism, directly from their sacred books and world mythologies, hence the name MythoReligio. The purpose is to retrace the prehistory of humanity, since I am not fully satisfied with either the explanations from the point of view of creationists nor evolutionists. There are so many missing links in both explanations. If you feel the same, then you are on the right channel. In this book series, I will also analyze about the prehistory of humanity from the archaeological records, modern scientific point of view, and other alternative theories, such as the ancient alien theories and Atlantis or Lemuria legends. After thorough research of circa 30 years, I recognize many similarities between all religious stories and even mythologies, and surprisingly, some of them are in accordance or even beyond modern science that have been proven as correct. Thus, I came to the conclusion that all religions must have come from the same source. And all these religious stories and mythologies, although heavily jumbled up, are actually telling one mega story, the true prehistory of our common ancestors. This mega story is quite different than what we have been told to believe and will truly blow your mind, as it is more fascinating than our imagination. If you have watched the earlier videos in this channel, I believe you can see some of the similarities too. If you haven't and you truly want to do a religious comparative study, I suggest that you do so. The best way to do a comprehensive religious study via this channel is by watching the videos starting from number 1 and continue until this present video and so on. That way you will see a clear pattern. For deeper analysis that I cannot share in this platform due to its sensitive nature that leads to the above conclusion, kindly read the books that are available in ebook format that can be found in my website www.mythoreligio.com or the physical books at Amazon in color or black and white version. Persian mythology or ancient religion. Zoroaster. Dear fellow truth seekers, this is my last video about mythologies from the Middle East other than the Abrahamic religious stories and outside of Mesopotamian region. This is the story about the Persian or modern-day Iran prophet named Zoroaster. Zoroaster or Zarathustra was an ancient Iranian-speaking founder of Zoroastrian religion which became dominant in ancient Persia, modern-day Iran. His exact birth date and place are uncertain, probably between 1200 to 900 BCE. Zarathustra means he who can manage camel. Zoroaster is the Greek name for Zarathustra, which means shining star. Before the birth of Zarathustra, the magicians and wicked people knew that a person who would teach the people the true worship of the Supreme Being, the Lord of Wisdom, Ahura Mazda, was to be born to a woman called Dugdova. They wanted to kill her so that they did not have to turn away from their wickedness. Fearing for his daughter's life, Dugdova's father sent her to live at the house of his friend, who had a son named Purushaspa. Dugdova married Purushaspa, and they were the parents of Zarathustra. Before Zarathustra was born, a very bright light shone all around the house. His birth was a very special event. Most babies cry at birth, but baby Zarathustra laughed at birth. It is believed that this was an indication of the birth of a divine person. Soon after his birth, an evil man named Durasarum planned to kill Zarathustra. He had heard that Zarathustra was sent by Ahura Mazda to get rid of evil. So he put baby Zarathustra into burning fire. but an angel caused the fire to get cold. Next, he placed him in a lane frequented by cattle, with the intention that he would be trampled to death. But another angel who protected the cattle came to the rescue by inspiring a cow to stand over him and protect him from the stampede. A similar attempt made by placing him in a passage of horses also failed. Durasaran continued his efforts to kill Zarathustra. He took him to a wolf cave to be eaten by wolves. But two angels came to the baby's rescue in the form of goats who suckled the baby until he was rescued by his parents. In the end, Durasaran tried to carry out the murder himself. He entered Zarathustra's house when all were asleep and was going to strike him with his deadly dagger, when another angel paralyzed and twisted his hands so that he could never ever use it again. Zarathustra grew up to be a good and happy boy. He was kind and always tried to make others happy. Once he saw a starving dog. He lifted it, fed some bread and water, and nursed it to good health. When there was famine, Zarathustra and his family shared food with the hungry people. Zarathustra spent many years studying the faith of Ahura Mazda. When he was 20 years old, he left home and spent 10 years in prayer and meditation on the mountains where he was tempted by the evil spirit and passed it. Zarathustra experienced his first revelation at the age of 30. That year, during the spring festival, he saw a shining being who revealed himself as Vohumana, or good purpose. He taught him about Ahura Mazda, or the wise spirit, and then told him about 5 other radiant spirits. Apart from that, Vohumana also told him about Angra Mainyu, or the hostile spirit, as well as about truth and lie. Sometime later, he had further revelation in which he had vision of the 7 divine entities, collectively known as the Amesha Spenta. They have also been described as the 7 sparks of Ahura Mazda. These visions enlightened him fully, turning him into a prophet. Zarathustra saw Ahura Mazda as the one who created and spelled out the holy word. He realized that it was with his vibrationary power inanimate things were brought to life. Thus, Zarathustra made the holy word his own weapon to fight evil with, and through the power of this holy word, light would spread throughout this world. Ahura Mazda gave Zarathustra a Hauma tree, representing wisdom and peace and the exalted fire, which burned without fuel and emitted no smoke whatsoever. Zarathustra was then commanded by Ahura Mazda to instill into the minds of the people the divine thought, that in the world of men where life is brief, those that act unrighteously find in the spiritual realm not happiness but grief, discontentment and pain of mind, for such is the abode of their soul. Zarathustra revealed all the messages he received from Ahura Mazda in a 5 series of hymns called the Gathas. Then he left the mountains and went forth to preach the religion. Zarathustra went to the court of King Vistaspa of Bactria, modern-day Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. The king was interested in his teachings, but the courtiers were evil and framed Zarathustra. He was imprisoned. While in prison, he heard that the king's favorite horse was paralyzed. In despair, the king turned to Zarathustra for help. Zarathustra agreed to help, but only on the following conditions: that the king and the queen would follow the religion, the prince would protect the faith, and the king should punish those who framed him. As each condition was fulfilled, each leg of the horse was freed from paralysis. Zarathustra had 3 wives and several children. He lived a long and good life. But one day, at the age of 77 years and 40 days, when he was praying, a Karapan, that is a priest of the old religion, named Retrace, crept up behind him and stabbed him in the back. Zarathustra threw his prayers bead at him and forgave him. But the assassin dropped dead as soon as Zarathustra died. Then the angel Yasad took Zarathustra to heaven. The religion that is taught by Zarathustra is called Zoroastrianism. This religion still exists today, and recent estimates place the current number of Zoroastrians at around 110,000 to 120,000 at most, with the majority living in India, Iran, and North America, but their number has been thought to be declining. Zoroastrianism is considered as a monotheistic as it teaches that there is only one universal, transcendent, all-good, and uncreated supreme creator deity called Ahura Mazda, or the Wise Lord. Ahura meaning Lord and Mazda meaning wisdom. However, Zoroastrianism also has a dualistic cosmology of good and evil, and an eschatology, i.e. the final destiny of humanity, which predicts the ultimate conquest of evil by good. Scholars and theologians have long debated on the nature of Zoroastrianism, whether it is monotheistic, dualistic, polytheistic, or pantheistic. Whichever it is, here is their creation story and final destiny of mankind. Ahura Mazda versus Angra Mainyu or Ahriman. In the beginning, there was nothing in the world except Ahura Mazda, the wise lord who lived in the endless light, and evil spirit Angra Mainyu or Ahriman, who lived in the absolute darkness. Between them lay only emptiness. One day, Ahura Mazda decided to make different creations. First, he shaped the sky made of metal, shining and bright. Second, he made the pure water. Third, he created the earth, flat and round with no mountains and valleys. Fourth, he made the plants, moist and sweet with no bark or thorn. Fifth, he created the animals, big and small. Then he created the first man, Gayomard, bright, tall, and handsome. And lastly, he created fire and distributed it within the whole creation. The wise lord ordered fire to serve mankind in preparing food and overcoming cold. But the evil spirit peeked out of his dark world to see the wise lord's beautiful creations. The wise lord called him and said, "Evil spirit, aid my creatures and give them praise so that you will be immortal." The evil spirit snarled, "Why should I aid your creatures? Why should I praise them? I am more powerful. I will destroy you and your creatures forever and ever." Then he crawled back to his dark side to shape Devas, meaning shining ones, a group of demonic gods and monsters to attack the endless light. But the wise lord was all-knowing. He knew the evil spirit was making demons to destroy his good creations, and he also knew there would be a great battle with the dark. So the wise lord fashioned 6 spirits, the holy immortals, to guard his creations against the endless dark. The wise lord shaped the holy immortals from his own soul, each having his own nature. The first Holy Spirit was the guardian of the sky. The second was the protector of waters. The third was the guardian of the earth. The fourth was the protector of plants. The fifth was the protector of the animals. The sixth was the guardian of fire. And lastly, Ahura Mazda made his own Holy Spirit the protector of mankind. Ahriman, the evil spirit, saw the wise lord's holy immortals and was enraged. He cried, "Ahura Mazda, I will destroy you and all your creations. You will never be victorious." So he and his demons attacked the wise lord's creation one by one. They tried to destroy the water, but they could only bring bitterness to it. They tried to destroy the earth, but they could only put mountains and valleys. They tried to wither the plants, but the plants only grew thorns. The evil spirit and his demons brought sadness against happiness, pain against pleasure, pollution against purification, and death against life. They attacked Gayomard, the first man, and gave him sickness and death. The evil spirit Ahriman thought he had destroyed mankind and became victorious against the light, but he was ignorant and foolish. When Gayomard, the first man, died, from his bones grew a rhubarb plant. After 40 years, a man and a woman, Masha and Mashana, grew out of the rhubarb plant. Masha and Mashana promised the wise lord that their children would help him in his battle against the evil spirit Ahriman. Mashana then gave birth to 15 twins, and every pair scattered around the world. Then each person followed the good thoughts, good deeds, and good words. Each became the follower of the wise lord in his battle against the evil spirit. Herewith, I am ending the stories and myths from the Middle East region. Next week, I will share with you the myth from Africa, beginning with Egypt. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next week.